Builds are much more forward than Dark Souls 3. Well, you have to keep in mind, Dark Souls 3 builds were pretty irrelevant until the major DLC patch. Like in Dark Souls 3, like how it worked, you pretty much had two builds for like most or the beginning of the game's life cycle. You had a quality build. Quality builds were better than dex build and were better than strength build on like nearly every weapon. And when I say nearly every weapon, I mean it. Like even strength based and dex based weapons had more damage on quality. And eventually, and quality was also doing a lot more damage than anything elemental as well. So quality was just better in every way for any melee weapons. And then came the patch that changed up all the scaling for pretty much every weapon, and it made it so that you had more build variety. But before that, quality was pretty much outshining everything. And I have a bit of these vibes here in Elden Ring. Not that strength build is outshining everything in this game, but I feel like they still need to have that like to review their scaling overall for various attacks and different damage modifiers. Because in Elden Ring, the problem, like we always say, the problem is the damage in Elden Ring, but it's more like the damage disparity. Because some attacks do normal damage, and some attacks do the damage they should be doing, and some attacks are in a good place. Like, I like to give Moonveil as an example, because Moonveil is the perfect example of that. If you take Moonveil, like a Moonveil R1 does normal damage. Like, so if you nerf the damage overall on the entire game, you're going to end up with a Moonveil R1 that does subpar damage, and it's going to become even more useless. Then the R1 is going to become more useless than it already is, and you're going to be even more forced to use the Ash of War. But like in the case of the Moonveil, obviously it's the Ash of War that does too much damage. And for most weapons and for most of the game overall, like the damage being inconsistent or disproportionate comes from either power stancing, status buildup, jumping attack, counter hits, or Ash of Wars. Like those are usually the things that do too much damage. Maybe some spells, but that's usually how it goes. I tried to change direction, just didn't work. Oh, that's it for you. Oh, he rolled out of it. I could have rolled that. I kind of brain farted. Man, this shield is disgusting, honestly.